Then after like making sure we show all the respect towards the referees and stuff like that. Do you want to latch on the selections?
So one of the initiative that we had that has been coming on for a while, but we're going to implement it this year, is that, as you know, a lot of our kids, or every year we are allowed 6 players to go to Western Province under 12 and under 13 trials. This year, what we're going to do is that at the Awqaf tournament, each coach in that team or youth conveners in that team will select their best 6 players that we will eventually nominate for trials, for Western Province trials next year. And we will put those kids in an off-season program, in an off-season and pre-season program, where all the clubs and the coaches will come together. We will take those boys, put them through proper training processes. We've got 2 academies potentially that is going to come out and help us, give some of the resources and give these kids the best opportunity to go to the trials and reach, those teams as well. Because, by the time that we get there, then they are so undercooked. They're playing against boys that have played 10 or 12 games already, and we're still in preseason. So I think to sort of mitigate and help that, and it also gives us an element of elite level rugby at the school or at the primary school level, so we can open the eyes. And the best thing about it is that even though only a small percentage of them will eventually go on to represent Western Province at Craven Week, the rest that don't make it, they come back into the club setup, and they will just elevate those teams and the clubs that they play in, which means that all the clubs that participate will have stronger teams, and it makes it better for us as well, and we can compete at a much higher level.
Yes, so this means that this will happen with the boys that are 11, 12, turning 13 and
So
12.
this year, if you are under 11 and under 12, playing for any of the teams coming to the Awqaf, you are eligible for a selection. So that's a further incentive. And those are not just player rugby abilities; it's your discipline. It's the way that you behave. We want the best versions of the boys that we can get. So it's if you this year at under 12 and this year at under 11, you'll be under 12 and under 13 next year.
Okay. Then moving from there, is there anything before we end off you want to latch
Look,
on?
I think from us, and I think from everybody, no matter who we speak to, I think the biggest thing is that we go out and we have fun. Let these kids enjoy themselves. Let the coaches do their job. Let the referees do their job. There's going to be food. There's going to be. I think it's going to be such a festive atmosphere from what we've seen. I don't think anybody can deny that the tournament like that is in the past has been fantastic. It's just let us just try and keep the discourse to a minimal. Let's try and make it more family orientated and show that we can be competitive and rivals on the field, but be the people that we express to our kids every single day, off it.
Yes, and then moving on, what position did you play?
So I started off on the wing because I was a bit of an athlete at school, so I had a bit of speed. I had nothing else.
So
Um,
as we thought it gets it.
eh? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think at his stage I was a bit quicker. I think I can still maybe take him on, but it is in terms of speed. But obviously his ability as a rugby player is far away. That they say it skips a generation. But I did end off or played most of my rugby and enjoyed the position the most is to play fullback. So I see he's now following in his daddy's footsteps.
Steve,
So
so you all your life at Rosa and
always been father. My dad's played as
okay.
he was he's passed away now,
Allah grant my blessing,
inshallah.
Jannah. Amen.
But he's been this club has got such a special place in our family.
Indeed.
Everywhere my kids are third generation rugby players. Um, some of my most fantastic memories is at Rosmead and at City Park, which is where we grew up. So we grew up into the club. I didn't have the privilege of playing younger age group level because we went Mitchell's Place. I had to play rugby at the school where we started our own team. But obviously came to coach at a very young. I mean, I was 20 odd when I came back to Rosmead when we moved. Played my senior rugby year, but it's just such a special place for me. It is really my peace, for the most part. Very stressful also. I don't know. I think I'm getting more grey in the last 2 3 weeks. than I have in a long time.
That
But yeah, I played here with some fantastic people. Never really achieved much, from a playing perspective at the club, but made some of the best
for me,
friends.
the achievements sometimes we don't get it in our playing days, but looking at this
Yeah,
tournament and looking at the development, and not many people know. My father also passed away a year ago, rahimahullah.
Roger.
So if you look at that, what kids need to understand, a father, you speaking from a father's side, is basically the only one that wants their kids to support him.
Yeah.
You know, you have friends, but it's to a certain level sometimes. But it's very genuine. And the other thing that I wanted to ask was the being the second person on the podcast. As we could jump from Talib now to you.
Yeah, I'm probably, well, that is, it's not a bad guy to, to come after, to, work out all the kinks. And then I must just very funny, I'm not a, I'm a big Facebook guy,
Yes, yes,
simply because we obviously do this stuff on Facebook with the clubs, and I like to see it. The TikTok thing is very new to me. I think I downloaded it a couple of weeks ago. It's a weird place. It's a weird platform to be on, but I see that's where everybody is. So I had to, sort of familiarize myself with how it goes and how it works. And I think this thing, your podcast it fits in nicely with what it is, in the context of community rugby. So grateful for that. But I think I'm a lot safer on Facebook, but obviously, the content, the rugby content here is a lot better. So, it does have its positives. Um, but also, just to get back, I think one of the things that just occurred to me is if you look at, I mean, you mentioned Tariq,
Talib,
playing, no, no,
Tariq.
Tariq playing first team, and some of the boys that are there. And I think one of the biggest differences was, um, when I was a young man, I always, when I was a young player, we did lots of athletics and stuff, but we had lots of potential. And as much as we had good role models, then we really didn't have the systems
Yes,
in
yes, in
place
place what we have now.
for us then, and it's well documented. I mean, people that are 10, 20 times better rugby players and sportsmen and us never really had the opportunity. But I think that is why it's so special with them. And I think that is why these players must realize how privileged they are. Tariq has played, Tariq and a group of them that are now playing first team started there when they were 4, 5 years
Is
old.
all and to
And I
come
mean, they
through.
had guys like Abdullah Saleh that was coaching them, guys that have played high level rugby, respected in the club, where we maybe didn't have that. And
Yes,
they
yes.
had the opportunities, with the touch rugby, with the Western Province and all of this. And we just want to obviously give that to our kids. So I think maybe that's the difference, that you realize those things, and why it is for me such a big privilege and honor, to be involved in youth rugby, because also, I always mention the guys that we grew up with, or that were my mentors when we were younger, but Ali Sadan, Raham, but Ahmad Chatim, Ahmad Gracie, and
Yeah.
a long list of people that
Well,
have put the foundations down at the
hopefully,
youth clubs.
later on we can do another one where we dive into that. It would be
I
nice
think,
because there's a audience that wants to know also about the past and stuff. But our time is a bit, it's almost
yeah,
Juma also. So I hope you watch one of Talib, the first
I
episode.
did. I did. I had to watch for tips because when you asked me to come, I was a bit intimidated. I don't like to, I don't like to be in front of the camera. Even though my colleagues at the club, the youth committee, they know that I talk a lot. But when I talk about rugby and especially with youth, I enjoy that.
Okay.
But I don't really like the media stuff as much because
Okay.
it's stuff that follows you around. But we try to be as as authentic as we can when it comes to this. But I did watch it. I had to watch it for a few guidelines, but the guys are naturally in front of the camera, I think.
Yes, 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 especially Talib. But then the game we play is you start one, you drop one, and you start one, bench one, and drop one. So I'm probably I don't know in your
Well,
time.
I'm
So
50 years old. You're
so
not
so,
going to
so
be
I'm
able to
I'm,
go
I'm gonna
into
look
the.
from 2000s and up. So
Let's see.
you see a fullback. We're going with Percy Montgomery, Miles Mulayina, and what was the other one? Rob Carney of the
Of
fullback.
Island.
That was peak in the 2001 till 2010.
So I get to start one.
Then
I
you
I,
have to put one on the bench and the one unfortunately drop
I
in.
think I think it's clear. I think Mull starts.
Yes.
Percy's on the bench. But you must see which version of Percy, man, because I think the Percy in
We are speaking
2017,
peak. We're speaking peak.
peak. I think you start Mills, you bench Percy, Mr. Island Kenma. But I think those are the. I think
Okay.
those. I think if you got those two guys, you
And then
covered pretty
last
much.
one, like the kids that's watching now, like
You know,
in
ask me
that.
to do a dance on the thing.
No, not the dance. This is the one that everyone was waiting for. Israel Dag.
Yeah,
Israel Dag, 2011, up Israel Falau.
yeah.
And what was the other fullback? Can we say now Israel Falau, Izzy Dag, and let us see
Oh, you got
now,
to put a South African in there.
South
It's a
African.
different. I mean, if you're gonna talk about vintage Owens in my time, you know the old Natal fullback that played for that played for the Springboks, but that's a different era.
Yes.
So who's the other one? So we got Israel Dag.
As Israel Dag, Izzy Falau, and Vali Leroux.
Oh,
Start one,
why
bench
do you do
one.
this, man? This is my. I'm a huge Springbok supporter. But we can,
Difficult.
yeah. If it wasn't Vali, if it was maybe Damien Willemse,
No,
then we
you
start
will.
him and we drop everybody else. In that context, I think probably Dag starts and Palau on the bench.
And drop Vali.
I'll have to
Unlucky.
drop Vali. Poor
Unlucky.
Vali.
But Mr. Alberto, shukran
No
for
problem.
everything. And hopefully in the future we have another one, inshallah.
Yeah, shukran to you for allowing me to sit here for a few minutes and talk about this thing. But again, just to sum it up, you're welcome. I'll be able to see you to just make
Tomorrow,
some
inshallah.
contact over the weekend. The weather looks like it's going to be good. There's going to be food. There's going to be stalls. There's going to be food trucks. We're going to do everything. Our mini rugby fields, the guys are busy prepping now. I think that's where the buzz is going to be for the most part. People come and support. I want to also challenge just very quickly. I did see a clip there with a couple of our youngsters that were here on Wednesday night.
Yes.
And I know it was a bit starstruck, with having you interviewing them, so they couldn't get to the names. But if it is the case, I want to just, lay out the challenge there to our first teams, not just our first teams, all Primrose senior rugby players, all Collegians rugby players, first senior rugby players, Rangers senior rugby players, Vandenberg senior rugby players, Violet senior rugby players. If I don't see you here supporting your players, then you mustn't wonder why these kids don't know your names.
Yes. I think they were
And
lost.
I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna challenge you to go around, maybe by tomorrow, and then Sunday on the finals. Then we're gonna ask these guys who have they learned from the senior players, who have they learned to, to know of our junior players, because I
Yes.
think our communities must come
Yeah,
a
we
little bit
must get a
together.
connect, inshallah.
And yeah, and then I think we'll have a fantastic weekend, inshallah.
Shukran to each and everyone. Shukran. I think that's it.
Shukran, man.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Here you go. Okay,